When you're supposed to be.
There's one so far signed up.
I thought you would look at it.
That's the one.
Don't you like it?
You signed up.
Yeah. Patriotic.
Oh, it's the flag. I didn't see that.
Memorial Day.
Really? Very good.
As you get older, you get more edges, you know?
All right, Town Council public hearing and regular meeting, May 21st, 2026, 6 p.m. at the Cape Charles Civic Center. Could I get a roll call, please?
Newman, present.
Holloway present.
Buckholz present.
Buda present.
Grossman, present.
Ashworth present.
Let it be known we've established a quorum. If we could please all rise for a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Public hearing.
Never had that. I was like,
Teenagers.
Nobody has signed up to speak.
All right, no emails?
No.
Okay.
Gotta stop watching those reels, Bob.
All right, zoning text amendment 2026-02, historic district overlay guidelines and appendix G. Who's taking that?
That was for the public hearing.
Oh, that's it?
We don't
Yeah,
have to do
there's
anything
no
else.
comments.
All
It's
right,
gonna be later on under unfinished business.
all right.
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
aye.
All right, public hearing is closed. All right, so we have some visitors this evening. First off is Coastal Seaplanes presentation. Sam Ricks.
How's everybody today?
Doing
Good,
well.
how are you?
Awesome. I'm Sam with Coastal Seaplanes. Council members, thanks so much for having me. Mayor, Miss Libby, how are you? So we've been running seaplane service into Cape Charles for a couple of years now. Last year we built Cape Charles' very first seaplane dock right here next to the riprap. You can see her there by the bathrooms. It's sort of our little project area that we adopted with the consent of the town to.
You need to make sure the microphone's
Is the mic
on.
on?
Oh, more so? See if I can get this thing a little closer. Is it on? It is on.
Oh, yours is on now.
It's
There you
on.
go.
All right, I'll lean into it here.
You're just taller than most
Yeah,
of our speakers.
You can take it out of there if you
The
want.
trajectory. That's a good idea. All right, cool. So, the seaplane dock has been an absolute success. It's allowed us to run flights into Cape Charles just really consistently all through the summertime, beginning around, honestly, we ran flights in here in February, which is pretty uncommon, given the weather we get through the wintertime. But this is ramping up. We ran a flight just last night into the town with our upgraded seating capacity of 4 passengers from the normal 3. So we're making moves as a company, slow but sure. And a big part of that is that we want to expand our dock to accommodate the second aircraft that is on the horizon for us. So what this allows us to do is to consistently run service into Cape Charles with 2 aircraft, 1 coming, 1 going, but also it'll get us out of the way of some of the traffic. So without further ado, I'm just going to kind of run through this. At any point in time, please feel free to stop me with any questions you might have. So our community impact, we've become a tourism driver for Cape Charles and the Eastern Shore as a whole. That's our big goal. We find ourselves in this really awesome place where we get to connect really good people with good places. We're a marine logistics solution, so we've started to work with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation and VIMS. We're going to work with them on their Menhaden project this summer. We're going to put them in the stack over in the Menhaden boats. The stack is where they got planes stacked, the fish spotters every 500 or 1,000 feet. We've been able to coordinate with Omega on that. It's been great. So we'll get a lot of good stuff on that. That falls in line with the conservation support. And in the harbor investment, I use that term lightly right now because we've got about $12,000 into that dock, but we plan on putting a whole lot more and also getting some grants to help us get that going. So the issue, everyone's sort of familiar with this piece of the harbor with the riprap. The more crucial issue is you can see they look like logs in there right there, but those are actually concrete pilings and jagged rebar that I honestly have heard conflicting stories on whether or not it was dumped there on purpose or if they just sort of sneakily said, hey, here's a bunch of trash, we'll dump ours in with it. The issue that we run into is that we wanted to make sure that the pier was still accessible for larger boats like King of Fun, the over 100-foot yacht that comes in here every summer. So we sort of tucked in there, but the issue we run into now is when you're docking the airplane in, we dock nose in towards the riprap, and I've got to be Johnny on the spot getting out of that aircraft and arresting the movement, or you'll run right up onto the pilings, those concrete pilings. So it's an aircraft docking hazard. I'm not so much concerned about myself. I've got 5,000 hours of flying. When I put a pilot into Cape Charles, I want to make sure that he's set up or she is set up for success. And that big part of that is going to be getting some of those pilings out. And it's also an eyesore at low tide. If you've been down there and you've seen it, it looks like an accident. And then also limited docking space, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. I've got some pictures of that. We'll go on to the next slide. This was our docking situation with the King of Fun. It was fun. Luckily, it was a great crew. Miss Paula helped us coordinate that with them. They got there a little bit late. We got there, or they got there a little bit early. We got there a little bit late, and our time on the dock maneuvering around each other overlapped. Super gracious crew and captain. We worked with them. We backed up into the harbor to let them position, and then we came in around there. You see them tied off to the pilings that we put in. This would allow us to be able to dock the aircraft without any sort of conflict like we saw there, because not everybody's going to be as sweet about it as they were. Now, obviously, that's our dock, but we're here to be a team player to make sure everybody succeeds. As they say, a rising tide floats all ships.
They're also the king of fun, so.
Exactly. Exactly. They got to ride for their own brand there.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go on to the next one. So this is the solution. The goal is to first remove the debris to allow for the expansion of a dock here. We're going to keep what we have, and the goal is to take 5-foot wide dock sections to come around in an L and connect to a pre-existing piling. So we would remove that piling, or we would sleeve it with a steel piling going straight down over top of it, but there wouldn't be really any more addition of pilings in the harbor. And also we would remain with the 5-foot wide dock sections, which the VMRC explained to me, even though they're not really a part of the Cape Charles Harbor, but they did say that that really helps with making sure that the sunlight reaches the bottom throughout the day, so there's no full-time blockage. So we would expand that seaplane dock and restore the blighted shoreline and pier area. My goal as a company is to put in a flight office here and a little gift shop and stuff so people can go down and learn about seaplanes. Even when the seaplanes aren't there, they can go, hang out in the office if, inclement weather or on hot days waiting for their flight. And then, as we do that and we gain our own sort of business address, and we'd go ahead and punch in for a business license and make sure we're, a big part of the big picture here. So the timeline, phase 1 will be remove the debris. We're hoping to get that done this summer, and I wanted to speak with you guys about possible grants that we could use in the county, in the area for the Eastern Shore to help get that done. Really all it boils down to is somebody coming in with a barge in a bucket or an excavator, grabbing that stuff, putting it on there, and moving it out. We're not looking to take out all the riprap, just those pieces that are sort of hindering the expansion of the dock.
You look to see, I know it's been a while, it literally is that simple?
I say it's that simple.
Okay.
That stuff is going to crumble as you grab it. The
Right.
good news is it's still got pretty beefy rebar out throughout it, so it's not gonna fall all to pieces. But, you know, there's gonna be a little bit of churning of the water going up for that immediate part. They've got these buckets that have the grippers on them, so they can kind of go in and grab that stuff and put it up there. I mean, I'm not the operator, but my goal would be just the least amount of impact as possible.
Okay.
Get it in, you know, get in there, get the stuff out, and get the barge out of there, and move it on out of its way, and then hopefully repurpose it somewhere where it could do some good as a natural reef or something like that. The seaplane dock expansion would happen this fall. So what we would do is same thing we've done every time. I build these docks in my driveway, and my neighbors love it. And then we load them up on a flatbed trailer. We bring them across the bridge tunnel. We float them out, float them into place, and they've got pins, and we just pin them into place. So that's kind of how that whole thing would put together. And then the restoration project would go from winter 2026 into 2027. What we'd be looking to do is to team up with the town of Cape Charles to look at the area as a whole, find out what it really needs, what it really could use, and then what we can do to either source grants or come up with funding of our own to be able to, you know, fix some of the stuff so that we got a long-term solution here. I know there's some of the pilings that are starting to lean. There's some potholes out there. I think there's some cats, you know, which I know somebody's feeding them. Maybe we'll put a litter box out there so it's not the whole place isn't a litter box. And then, you know, the bleachers, maybe we could move those or find a place for those that coincides so people can, you know, kind of sit and watch a seaplane take off and land and stuff like that. Got a whole bunch of ideas for that. But that's the timeline. And that's our seaplane dock sitting right there. You can kind of get an idea of what it looks like on just a normal summer day. We have been able to partner with a lot of the restaurants in town, specifically the Shanty, and we love them. It's awesome. And we bring people in and out of here. We bring people in and out of the golf course. The whole situation has been just a dream come true. And I feel like Cape Charles was built for seaplanes, and we were built for Cape Charles.
So what's your furthest distance?
Well, the first, to be honest with you, I found myself in Rhode Island earlier this year. And then we've got charters all the way down to Bald Head, South Carolina. So we've been burning it up all the way out to Raleigh and Roanoke, DC. A lot of DC to the northern neck, a lot of DC to the eastern shore. We've done a lot of private residence pickup and drop-offs off the eastern shore. But these people with second and third homes found out they didn't have to drive all the way. They've started just running it up with us. So one of the cool things that I was just talking with somebody about earlier tonight, we have, I was able to code and build part of our website where you can drop down and select where you want to have a tour run from or an experience run from. And so we're building out a whole bunch of experiences and air tours that'll run out of Cape Charles so that you can quickly go on, see what's available, see the dates that it's available, click it, book it, and we'll come over and fly that flight for you.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Are we able to supply fuel for you?
So the fuel situation, we run 100 low lead. I do have a solution for that in the short term. It would be handy. A lot of times, since we're running these smaller aircraft, we'll come in with minimum fuel, oftentimes just enough to get back and fuel up. I've built a 100-gallon fuel trailer. It's not much, but it's over in the northern neck for us right now at the Tides Inn, because when we roll out with 4 passengers for the Tides Inn, we'll come in with like a 30-minute reserve, which is the legal limit, and then we'll fuel up there. It'd be great to have something like that here, where we could bring in a fuel trailer. It is specific fuel, so we can't take the boat fuel that everybody else takes. So getting a truck out here to fill a large tank and all the bits and pieces that would be required on the environmental side, I'm willing to explore that, absolutely. It'd be great to have fuel, but for now, I think we can probably get by with just a fuel trailer here and there. But even that, we'd run with you guys to make sure it was permitted appropriately.
So right now, the majority of the flights that you bring into town are private chartered things. They're not like people who are on a destination or who've booked something to.
It's a 50-50.
Okay.
So we haven't taken a lot of people. I would say maybe 20% of our flights out of Cape Charles are locals who are leaving Cape Charles to go somewhere. We do have a couple that out of the Bay Creek area that want to go to DC semi-often. And then, but the other 50%, I'd say probably 30% of our flights are folks that come in that want to stay for a long weekend or a week, and they're booking local Airbnbs or hotels and things like that, or dispersing off into the shore somewhere else. And then the rest of it are people who want to come in for a day trip or what we call the fly and dine stuff. So they're coming in to eat at the Shanty or the Elephant and the Octopus, and they're coming in to kick their heels up and get a little buzz on before they get on the flight back home.
Right. So this is kind of the destination more so than the departure port. Like I know you have a promo where you'll take people to Tides Inn for brunch on Sunday.
Yeah, the
but
brunch and
that's
beyond.
from where?
That's from Yorktown.
Yorktown.
Yep.
So we don't have anything yet here that's like,
We do. So people are starting to pick it up and fly to the Tides Inn. I think one of the biggest challenges that we've had as a company is explaining to people that we're literally the Swiss Army knife of the bay. If you can imagine it, and there's a runway or a waterway, we can do it. So in places like Alaska, where seaplanes have been around for so long, people just automatically, it's tribal knowledge where they just know, yeah, we're going to get a seaplane out to this
Right.
island to go camping this weekend. We want to instate that here, and it's been a big part of it. And we're on year 3, and it's starting to pick up steam.
so if you don't mind, can I ask you just 2 more quick things? So in your image right there, you're talking about leaving your existing dock footprint and then adding the L-shaped configuration to the left of that. How does that solve the access issue for boats docking in that area right there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what it would mean is instead of cornering the plane back around this way, we just leave it out on the outside.
Okay.
And it would allow us to get in and, so say the King of Fun, which they had about 20 more feet they could have come back if they wanted to, but they were relying on that piling right there,
Right.
and that's fine with us. But, the goal is to make it just a little bit easier for us to come and go when there is a boat there. Sometimes there's big yachts, sometimes there's people fueling, sometimes there's, I think I saw a shrimp boat from South Carolina on there this last summer. Got to know those guys pretty good. So that would be the goal, to solve that issue in the midterm. I am, just to sort of pull the curtain back a little bit, curious as to what purpose all of the riprap serves, since we have the big breakwater out there now, and I know that was a big piece for just protecting the boat ramp in the inner harbor. But I've been here on a pretty strong westerly, and it does blow in the inner harbor, but I honestly think we could peel that riprap back a little bit and widen that space where that bottleneck is that it's creating, and take up even less footprint and achieve the same result.
And you mentioned down the road maybe wanting to have an actual structure or
Yeah.
office here. Forgive me for not knowing this, but what is your financial relationship with the town right now for what?
So right now, we lease, so we built the dock and we just lease the space on the water. And so I built the dock and had the gangway built, and we just sort of put it in there, and we pay monthly. We pay $350 a month to just have the dock there. We would look into increase our investment with the town, as we build out the dock a little bit larger. And then we put an office there, obviously that would kick in another increase for us.
So you currently don't have a business license?
We haven't had one, mainly because we don't have an address to call home here.
Because the 3 grants that came to mind for me to share with you, you have to be a business.
Okay. So we have business licenses, but none in Cape Charles. And then
Yeah.
I had pursued that about 2.5 years ago, but without, this is something we ran into in Portsmouth, is we have to have some sort of address in Cape Charles
So we
where,
might need to think.
And I don't know
creative.
if you could do
You don't know
like
anything about that? Or,
Whose jurisdiction, where his resident office is, where he pays.
right.
If you were to have a location and address here,
that would be the goal.
you come over and say hello.
That would be perfect. I mean, I feel like that's when the office would really kick in, is that, I don't know if there's an address on that pier, but we would accept whatever, where we could get mail and do that type of stuff.
Because to
and all
get
that.
the grants, the resources that I'm thinking of.
You got to have a
to
business
that.
license. Is it
'Cause it's
like
the-
in Yorktown where you have to be in business for 1 year type
No.
thing? You just have to have it.
Pretty informal, but it would get you a lot of things. It would get you as a member of Cape Charles Main Street.
Right.
Right away, which opens up some doors.
Yep.
To some other things for you. It would put you in line to get an ESVA tourism grant to kind of sponsor you
Yes.
some, and then the Northampton County Infrastructure Grant as well. And so that could possibly cover some of your costs.
Right.
for some of the things you're talking about. So,
These are great ideas. I mean,
Yeah.
not to be brash, but is there an address we can use in the meantime?
Tammy, would a PO box work, or does it have to be?
yeah, I don't.
No, a PO
I
box
don't-
would
it's
not work?
whatever, not for a business license.
Not for business license,
No.
okay.
Yeah.
What's the harbor address?
So we'd have to give them one on the pier. They make an address.
Yeah.
Why'd you just use
That would
the
work for me.
harbor house?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would at least open the door to get started on some of these things.
Sure.
The infrastructure grant process just happened, but there might be a little bit
okay.
there.
Yeah.
And I'd add, just similar on, I sit on the Northampton Economic Development Authority, and there's a possibility for somebody there, but again, it's
Have to-
tied into,
Yeah.
where's your parcel here that says.
Yeah.
Right. And we're tied in with a couple of different nonprofits that work around the Hampton Roads area that remove sunken boats. And he mentioned that they'd be interested in being a part of this.
Sure.
So we may be able to plug into that, but all that regardless, I mean, we've been sort of tapping on the window for a business license for a while.
Sure.
So definitely happy to do
Probably
that.
a good next step.
Yeah, we've
get
absolutely been
the
after
door
that.
open to
We
some
hold one in
things.
Portsmouth, Newport News, and Yorktown.
Yeah.
Happy to do one here, just because we go into these places all the time.
Because then the Cape Charles manages our out-facing website, Cape Charles, Virginia's Cape, and then you can be on there and
Now
have
we're
a
talking.
link, you know?
Yeah,
We're talking.
let's do it. Let's rock.
So it's an important step.
Okay, cool,
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Well, sure. Y'all, hope y'all don't mind, sorry. Nice to meet you, I'm Sam Riggs. I want to say that on the microphone. Okay, well, I won't take up too much more of your time unless you have more questions. The goal here was just to familiarize you with the goals and project and scope, and then get some good feedback. And then, I'll keep running the ball for starting on that, and then I'll circle up with y'all in an email and figure out the best
Let me
pathway.
just add one other thing. We have a railroad harbor master plan that's ongoing. We had a committee. I don't know if you're tied into that at all, or there's an awareness, but I think that's.
Would love to be a
something
part of that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the Pacific Northwest is a big place that people look at when they think of seaplanes as a part of being a thread in the fabric of the community. Cape Charles is the flying banner for that for us. It's the one example that we use where this is working flawlessly. And so 10, 15 years from now, yeah, get on the seaplane to Cape Charles. I mean, that's the best way to get there. If you're coming from DC, from Richmond, from anywhere, we want people to know they can come into Cape Charles. I mean, obviously Cape Charles is doing a great job putting yourselves on the map here. but-
Especially if the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel continues as it is.
Let me just tell you, yeah, 2.5 hours
Yeah.
from Newport News to get
I
over
know,
here today.
I know.
Yeah, 2.5
I'm thinking
hours.
about Bald Head Island at this point.
Yeah.
so.
Bald Head, yeah, absolutely. We got it. So, okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
y'all.
so much.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah,
Let us know what we can do to help.
absolutely,
Thank you so much.
absolutely. All right. Virginia American Water, come on up.
I'm not going to be able to top the seaplane. I'm glad I was here to hear the presentation, and
Yeah.
somehow I'm going to have my 7 and 9-year-old refer me as the king of fun.
Yeah.
So I learned a couple things today. So can you all hear me?
Absolutely.
Well, okay. Appreciate you here. Now we have a security alert. So appreciate your time here today. Unfortunately, Laura Runkle, our president, had an unexpected conflict earlier this week. She needs to remain up in our northern operations, so we're kind of dividing and conquer this, but she owes Rick a rain check. She promised when her schedule comes free, come down and visit you all. But I appreciate your time here. I have a few other fellow colleagues here that you'll get to meet. But we're here to talk about the capital investment program in Cape Charles. It's been a journey. I've kind of been here since 2020, so I'm one of the rare breed that is still involved in this. I remember when November of 2020, when we presented the town with this proposal. Worked a lot with John Hosey before I met Rick. And we're here today, 2 years we've owned the assets in Cape Charles. It's amazing how time flies. I made mention that I'm another year older and probably not another year wiser. So, but we'll get into this. Today we're here to talk about, introduce our staff, give you a little high level introduction to American Water for those folks. I know there's been some turnover on the council. First time I've seen most, I've been looking at them, I remember, I don't remember. So I know there's been some change. So we'll introduce, Laura was gonna take that on, but I'll take that on, and also, I'll just explain to you all about, you know, how we fund our districts, right? Through operational reoccurring expense, probably similar to what the town does. We have what we call reoccurring capital, which is money at Matt Elliott's hands. That's for reoccurring projects. It's on day one, the capital, smaller capital projects. And then while we're here, right, the comprehensive planning studies that we do on all of our American water systems, that looks like a forward thinking, right? It's looking forward to what the town's gonna look like, the growth in 5 years, 10 years, and what are the immediate and prioritized needs, right? And why we're here. So Anna will present that. So we can go next slide. Introduction. Hey, we're American Water, right? Virginia American, a subsidiary of American Water. We're in 14 states. We're a regulated utility. We are the largest privately owned, publicly traded water and wastewater treatment company in the United States. In 14 states. In the blue, we also have 18 military services contracts throughout the United States, as indicated in gray. They are 50-year agreements with the federal government. So you can see our size and scale, our footprint. I won't go into the details. I think you all have a copy of the packet, but we do service a ton of assets out there. So just wanted to give you a little snapshot for those on the public listening to this. We've been serving Virginia for 175 years. A total population of about 384,000 people we serve across the Commonwealth. A little over 100,000 customers throughout. Treat around 50 million gallons of water delivered each day to our customers here. And we are very proud of our track record with the regulator. We've gone over 17 years without a notice of violation in Virginia. So we're extremely proud of that achievement. A little footprint, Alexandria since 1850, City of Hopewell since 1930. Hopewell does provides water service to the Fort Lee Army Base. We're in Prince William, near the Dale City area since 1966. The Northern Neck, which I was educated by Scotty Neville, who you all know, I would call the Northern Neck the Eastern Shore, and I'm born and raised in Northeast Pennsylvania, so I was strongly corrected
Yes,
that this is the Eastern Shore right here. And I also learned that it's not always on the maps. So now every map of Virginia, I'm going to make sure Cape Charles is there, and I'm going to make sure I have a map that indicates this wonderful town. And the town of Waverly, which was really our first growth, and I know there was a lot of networking done by John Hosey and Mayor McFall in Waverly to get to this point where the council decided. So I know there was some interface between the town on how we delivered what we promised in Waverly since 2022, and I was a part of that. And I'm proud to be standing here and being a little small part, which Matt and his team does all the work, but sitting here 2 years later, right, presenting to you. So next slide. Our leadership team, Laura Runkle is our Rockstar State President. She's unfortunately not here today. That's me. I don't look at myself here, but I have over 31 years of water and wastewater experience. It goes by so fast. Christian Volk, Dr. Christian Volk, he's not here today. He actually is in France. That's where he's from. His mother is there. He's visiting his mom for 3 weeks there, so he's unfortunately here. And Anna Kazasi is our Director of Engineering. She is right here. You'll get to meet her here shortly. Local operations team, the rock stars at Cape Charles, right? A lot of the familiar faces as we brought them on as employees of American Water. Some new faces that you might not know. We did add headcount here to right size by one person. And that was all about providing the right service and level of quality for our customers here in Cape Charles. But we're extremely proud of this team and what they did. And once you see some of the projects, and I know many of you have seen a snapshot of the first year progress and all the projects that this team has been able to execute, it's a pretty impressive list. Key milestones in our partnership. I said November of 2020 is when we submitted a proposal to you all, or some of you, to evaluate and maybe take this concept and listen to us. It's not like closing on a house in 30 days, 90 days. It's a process, and it was a long process. But the key milestone was in January 2023. I had actually come here when council voted, and it was unanimous vote to choose us. And from there, I take a lot of pride in that. I'm very proud to have said I've probably been through about 25 American Water acquisitions through either Pennsylvania or Virginia, and my promise to the customers is we deliver. We are, you've chosen us for a reason, and I'm a boots on the ground type of let's, address water quality, production, risk and resiliency, set this town up or city up for success. So I'm extremely proud that, you all have chose us as your provider. There's my smiley face there, shaking hands with Mr. Hosey. And lo and behold, April 24th is when we, end of April of 2024 is when we closed. Okay. How do we fund our districts? We have recurring expense, operational expense, that's treatment chemicals, groundskeeping, maintenance of our equipment. We provide, that budgetary funds, and again, we are mean and lean when it comes to operating expenses. Customer affordability is the most important aspect of how we try to run, but we also need to make sure that we have reliant services as well. Reoccurring projects, this is the amount of money or large sums of money that is, projects are brought up by the operations staff and are approved for Matt to execute throughout. And we do pivot from that because unfortunately priorities shift right in the course of a year. So you'll hear the reoccurring projects are the sums of money, and Matt will cover that when he talks to you all. And then we call the engineering or the large projects, right? That's what Anna's going to talk about. That is all derived by the comprehensive planning studies that go in. And these studies are so thorough, and cover everything and more projections, and also prioritize those, right? And that's what our obligation in the asset agreement is, for you to take a look at what are the results and the recommendation and the priorities that we have, and we listen, right? We listen to it. Either you agree or disagree, right? And so we talk about that. Again, with Mr. Hosey and with John, we clearly heard, right, is capacity, right, was a clear issue, and water quality. So we feel with the recurring projects, right, this is 2 years in, Matt will elaborate, but we've spent almost, projected to spend almost $4 million in the first 2 years that we're here, without even the comprehensive planning study, the larger scale projects. So we have invested in this community on an ongoing basis from day one. With that said, I think it's time to turn it over to Matt. He's going to go review those reoccurring capital projects that we've done to date, and then he'll turn it over to Anna for the comprehensive planning study, explain what it is, and then what our findings were on both the water and wastewater systems. At the end, we will definitely field any questions that you all have. So thanks for your time.
Ask one quickly.
Yeah.
The $4 million you said you invested. Now, our agreement said you were going to put in $10 million over 8 years. Is that $4 million against the $10 million, or how is that counted?
It is. It is, and I mean that. I can tell you, that the way the projection and the budget are, we'll clearly exceed that, 10 million over the course of that time.
You just have to demonstrate to SEC that you've spent 10 million in 8 years. In order to fulfill that, or
no? It's the contract with the town, right?
Okay.
We have to justify our capital spend with the SEC.
So after years, you'll be coming and saying, "Oh, I spent 27 million, or whatever."
We're going to we're going to do what it takes to invest in your community.
Okay.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And Matt Elliott, I don't know if I did. Oh, no, I haven't. Matt Elliott is your direct contact. Many of you know Matt. Matt, I'll tell you one thing. He started as a frontline employee at our HOPA operations staff. And I proudly will say he's been promoted up through the ranks, and he is your single point of contact. Many of you know him. I know he's the face of Cape Charles, along with, we appreciate Scotty being in the background, even though it's hiding back there. But yeah, so I want to introduce him. I'm extremely proud of Matt and all he's done down here.
Yep.
So thanks.
All right, so today I'm going to walk you through some of the completed and ongoing projects that we've been doing here around Cape Charles. Some of these projects are for improving reliability, safety, regulatory compliance, and long-term system improvements. I'll cover some of the planning efforts, the investment levels, and some of the key improvements across both the water and wastewater system. We started this comprehensive engineering study. It was done by our corporate engineering team, and I'm sorry, I don't speak in front of a bunch of people a lot of times, so
You're doing a great job.
pardon me for
We don't bite.
yeah. This involves evaluating system assets, collecting operational data, identifying future needs for the system. Projects were prioritized addressing aging infrastructure, regulatory requirements, safety concerns, and system reliability. These investments also aim to improve water quality, reduce risk, and reduce risk of system failures and service disruptions. In 2024, we approximately spent $2.1 million. This is invested across the water and wastewater facilities, both. So to his $4 million, it was actually closer to $5 million at the end of 2025. We invested last year $1.3 million in the wastewater and $1.7 million in the water. This year, we're projected to be 1.1 and 1.1 on either side. So as of right now, that's the projection for Cape Charles. These are some of the completed and ongoing projects within the wastewater facilities. There were several upgrades completed to improve treatment performance and reliability. Equipment upgrades included going through both of the fine screens, the UV disinfection systems, the belt filter press or solids processing, building and equipment, and then the membrane liners and reactors themselves. So some of these, there were some safety enhancements as well as far as gas monitoring systems in the Headworks buildings to monitor against hydrogen sulfide, and then fall protection davits installed throughout the facility. And this is obviously for the safety of the employees. Additional improvements included HVAC projects where we enhanced the HVAC in a lot of the electrical rooms and throughout the facilities. We also enhanced automation. We went through some of the automation systems and done a lot of work there as well. So this is going to touch on some of the collection system on the wastewater side. There's been some significant work completed in the sewer collection system and lift stations. There's been new equipment purchased, introduced to the staff here for cleaning and maintenance reasons. And actually, we used a camera this morning to help y'all out with that. There were some generator replacements and upgrades that went throughout the lift stations and actually at the facility as well, which they're actually still ongoing. So we just wrapped one up today. Electrical and control improvements were made throughout the lift stations. Mason Avenue, as everybody knows, I'm sure y'all see that one every day. That's ongoing and has been and will be until 27, more than likely. So I'm hoping to wrap it earlier than that, but it looks like it's probably going to be into 27. There's been a system-wide study initiated that was for inflow and infiltration. So to explain that.
Have you found major areas of concern?
So no, but we also haven't. We've gotten preliminary reports back from our contractors, and we're still kind of waiting on everything. So that has been a big focus, though. It's been ongoing since I believe the end of 24. But we also focus on locating. Well, this focuses on anywhere you would have like infiltration of stormwater and whatnot. Anywhere, anything that's not sewage. This focuses on reducing excess flow to help avoid costly plant expansions and improves efficiency. Some of the, this will also help gosh, listen up. This will help with future work, prioritizing some of these known spots of infiltration. And this will help also with keeping rates down without having to do costly plant upgrades, trying to fix the system out here first.
Yeah, Councilman Grossman, the main reason why we tackle this, we heard from the town that we're gonna have to expand the plant, we're gonna have to expand the
Yeah,
plant.
that's
As
been
we
always,
learn-
right.
As we learned, right, and again, based on our experience, you know, we gotta control what's coming into the
That's
plant
right,
first, right? So I couldn't put the burden on the residents and the customers of the town of Cape Charles without getting tight out there, right? So that's our approach, is to do that capital work first, and maybe we gain and buy some time, right, on the growth, right? We're able to cancel the growth out with what we find out in the fall. So it's a different strategy.
Some of these next few slides are just going to be some pictures of some of the projects we've worked on. This picture here on the left, the first one, this is a membrane liner replacement, membrane number 1. So we pulled the membranes, cleaned the tank, removed the old liner, applied a new liner. Here's this is a pump replacement in the back of the plant, this non-potable system. So this is us pulling the pumps. This is a HVAC system replacement that we did recently in the main control center. And then our toxic gas monitoring system that we installed, which was an upgrade and a replacement at the same time. This replacement of an old system, but we also upgraded at the same time, adding hydrogen sulfide in as for continuous gas monitoring. Here, these pictures show a valve replacement out in the vacuum sewer system. We've went through and replaced a few of these valves as some of them were failed. And then generator replacements and upgrades again. This is Washington. And then facility improvements, expanding storage. We had poured a concrete pad, brought a new Connex in, set that there. Lift station rehabilitations. This is also Washington here. This is a new control panel, new controls, new VFD. So those are just some of the pictures from wastewater side. Now I'm going to talk about some of the water projects that were completed. There's been significant upgrades to the water treatment plant. Some of those include facility improvements such as a new roof, updated office space, and some security enhancements. We also went into the filters. We did a filter media exchange with both the filters to improve our treatment efficiency. We've also been working with the chemical feed systems to enhance process control. There's also been continuous monitoring. This helps continuous monitoring of the system to be implemented to track water quality. Efforts are underway right now to develop new well sources and rehabilitate existing wells. We've already pulled the wells several times and done some maintenance to them, but we are in the process of trying to find new well sources. These improvements ensure reliability and high-quality drinking water supply. This is going to touch on some of the water projects completed out in the distribution system. There's been a series of tools and equipment acquired and maintained to help maintain and improve the distribution system. We also had a leak detection program started in 24, and that helped us successfully identify a few spots where there were some water losses. We have also been working to replace almost all the meters in town as far as using advanced AMI meters, which do help with the customers finding leaks and whatnot. You'll occasionally get phone calls from me or one of the staff members telling you got a leak or knock at the door. We also have been working on main replacements, as prioritizing main replacements. We've went in and actually done one on Strawberry Street with replaced 3-inch header with a 4-inch loop. And we've also adopted a unilateral flushing plan from our corporate engineering team. They came down, did some studies for us and put that together, and now we are flushing the system unilaterally. Then I'm going to share a few pictures again. So some facility upgrades in that picture, you can see there's a new gate, kind of keep tourists out and everybody else driving into the plant, but it actually becomes kind of hectic during the summertime. Everybody wants a picture of the tower.
The question on the tower is, at one time, we were talking painting it white, getting the heat away.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly, that you can't touch the color.
Now-
I remember that very well, right?
There are some black reflective coatings. Yeah, there are some black reflective coatings that should help with heat on the tank, but we've looked into that. Also, we put a new roof on the new membrane, new shingles, new everything went through the roof. There were several leaks on the building, and obviously you see the new shed there. Kind of move some stuff out of the building and clear up some space. Done some valves, some replacements of valves inside the plant, some of the metering equipment. There was a big project at the end of the year last year for the automation system, SCADA. We actually went in and revamped the whole system, and that's been probably one of the best things we've done. Not exceptional, but the filter upgrades, so you see a picture there, the inside of the filters. This was actually once the new headers were installed, and then new meters, new valves, power monitoring system, new blower system for the plant. And you can go next slide. This is going to be out in the wastewater, or out in the distribution system. So this is a well here. This was the east well last summer, or beginning of last summer, about this time, when we had some issues and had to go in and do a rehab. But here, service line replacements, main replacements, both of those are on Strawberry Street, and then your valve replacement there.
I want to thank you on the strawberry stuff, since I live in the building that was affected by that.
Pressure went up.
You guys were amazing with how fast you responded to that.
Yep.
And then dealt with all, the only hangup was with getting the road refilled.
Yeah.
But from the side of what you guys did, it was awesome.
Very quick.
I mean, they worked all through the night in the rain, and
Yep.
so.
We had to. Yeah, the very busy part of town and not an ideal time either, but we got it done. Yeah, and I think that's actually my last slide, but if y'all ever have any questions, feel free to call me anytime.
Can I ask you a couple quick questions real fast? Just for our communication with residents,
Yeah.
the Mason Avenue work that's
Yes.
currently going on.
Yes.
The amount of standing water that's kind of generated in the
So
adjacent lots.
there was some well pointing that was being done, but that's not anymore.
Okay.
There was some runoff from that, which it was supposed to finally come back to the storm, but it was going the opposite way. So.
Okay.
So, Matt, going back to what you're talking about, looking for more wells, what's going on with the Keck well hookup?
I'll maybe.
Good segue.
Yeah.
Well,
Wait, I have two, before he sits down, I just wanted to give a couple like front
You
line
thought you were done,
questions.
Matt.
It's fine.
With all these investments, and anybody can obviously answer this, like, it's kind of long talked about how poor our water quality is from a taste and hardness standpoint. Do you feel like we're starting to see measurable improvements at the source of our water? I mean, for a lot of us, frankly, I've been drinking it for so long that I still won't drink it just because it's just too programmed into my head that it's not going to taste good. But like, I know a lot can happen to the water by the time it leaves the treatment facility to the time that it goes through my tap. But like, are we moving in the right direction?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I
absolutely.
would imagine that's what you guys
And-
do every day is look at those numbers and.
With this unilateral flushing program, you'll see some significant changes, and I mean, it's gonna take time, but, it will get better, and there's other things we're doing too, in the plant to make it better, so.
Gotcha. And last question, which should be an easy one, is if a resident has a broken or missing water meter cover, who do they call?
Call the customer call center, tell them the address.
That's on their bill.
They'll send us
Yep.
an order and we'll go out and
Beautiful.
fix it.
Yep,
All right,
they're
just wanna
helping me right
follow
now
up
with that.
What's that?
They're helping me with right now with that.
On quality, total dissolved solids
that's
has
where I
been
was
a
going.
pet issue
Yes.
for the longest time, and your last annual report in 2023 indicated it was 765 versus the EPA secondary levels of 500.
Yep.
Tying in Keck wells, is that going to reduce the total dissolved solids?
I can't speak on total dissolved solids because that's not something we measure for, that VDH doesn't require us to. We have to go by VDH regulation, not what the EPA says. So as far as iron and manganese and anything else that's in the water, yes, it's going to be lower. So that should in turn, in theory,
All right,
yes.
but your reports do include total
Do they?
dissolved solids.
I believe the newest reports have just come out. I don't know if it's happening.
No, because I looked on,
I know you
if it wasn't the last day, maybe, but I looked, and it's only a year ago.
Yeah, we can follow up.
Yeah, we can definitely.
Yeah, because that is one of the key issues that we have, is total dissolved solids, well over.
So whatever questions we take away, we'll Rick, is
Or
that
Libby, whoever.
That'd be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Absolutely.
A question I had was, you've improved security at the water treatment plant. What about cybersecurity? Because I know that that's, an area where.
One of the first things that we did when we got here in '24 was we brought servers in and put firewalls in both the plants. So both of the plants actually have a series of firewalls that, well, I mean, they're impenetrable. I don't know. That's what they tell us, but.
Don't say that 'cause
Yeah,
somebody-
we do have servers and firewalls.
And again, our corporate entity, right, we have a gentleman by the name of Bill Bauer, who heads up cybersecurity.
Oh, yeah.
He keeps saying a monstrosity of us, we're extremely vulnerable. I've actually sat with him and presented to the commission, the Virginia State Commission Corporation, because they're asking the same questions, right? Because we're a vulnerable asset, right?
Right.
We think it's highly critical, so extremely robust cybersecurity. I think in Virginia, actually, Anna, we just pulled these numbers because we have an annual report. I think in Virginia alone, in last year, we invested over 300 and some thousand in Virginia for cybersecurity. So it's a reoccurring investment. It's right around that number. That's upgrades, right? That's all software upgrades, the latest and greatest to keep somebody out, right? But incredibly a lot of leverage from our corporate team and energy here locally. Again, firewalls. We don't allow people with remote plug-in access. I've taken over systems where the integrator would just, plug the Ethernet cable in and I can get in. That's not how you do it in American Water. People get extremely frustrated on the other end when they have to go through all these hurdles or they can't get in, right? Because we're extremely tight on that.
Great.
For sure. Anybody else? Good. All right.
Did a great job, Matt.
Yep, absolutely.
Should I start with the cake walls? We have them in the list, so if you don't mind, I can answer this question later.
Yeah.
Okay. So the CPS. The CPS is actually the base of our capital investment program. It takes time, and thank you for your patience. We got it done. It's a really thorough engineering assessment of the entire systems, and we did two separate ones, one for the water system and one for the wastewater systems. It was based, both of them, they had defined planning criteria. We looked at the existing condition of the assets. We looked at their performance and also the long-term reliability of both systems. And both studies assessed three key areas: the customer and demand projections, looking forward what is coming to the town, and also the seasonal variability. We looked at the source of how adequate the source of supply is and the treatment. So are we meeting the regulatory requirements? Are we meeting the upcoming growth that is coming to Cape Charles? And then the third one was the evaluation of the lift stations, the pump stations, the storage tanks, and of course the distribution and collection system. And now I can go to the next step. So starting with the customer and demand analysis, this is the most critical part of any planning study, and this is what was the first step. So we looked into because it is very critical because it's the base of how we decide what size, if the size of the asset is correct, if we need to upsize it, if we use this demand and customer analysis to understand if the treatment capacity is accurate, and also plan for long-term water efficiency. And we also evaluated two customer categories, residential and non-residential. So from the residential side, we looked we studied the historic growth and also looked at the consumption of water per customer, so that we can better evaluate the demand based on timing, instead of saying, okay, we need to serve X amount of customers, but really how the demand, the flow and the demand goes up and down. It's not the steady line. So we took that into consideration as well. And then for the larger, we looked into the larger customers, and again, we did the same thing, how the demand goes up and down, and what is the future growth that we expect from these larger customers. And also we evaluated the impact of welcoming new large users in the future. And finally, this is what, before we look to the future, we have to look into making sure that we have a sturdy system. And so it's the non-revenue water, both on water and wastewater. So and metering is very critical, because we can see how much is actually going for consumption, and then, oh, the numbers don't match, something is going on, let's figure it out and fix it. The other area the second area that the team focused on was actually the treatment side of the systems, and they looked at the quantity and quality of the flows that are coming in the water and wastewater treatment plants, to make sure that the existing infrastructure can handle the flows that is coming in, and also make sure that the water that is coming out of the wastewater treatment plant meets the regulatory requirements, and also with the water quality concerns that you all have. They looked at that as well. And these projects, as Charlie mentioned, they're called investment projects or engineering projects. It takes a lot of time to make these investments, because they require planning, design, coordination between several agencies, of course the construction, the permitting process, oh my God, the permitting process, and then the construction, delays with supply chain and weather. So these are the projects that require larger investment and patience. And then I can go to the next slide. The third area that they focused on was, again, the pumping. We checked if the pumps are adequate to meet current and future growth. And it's called something reliable capacity of the pump. So they were checking what if the larger pump of the system fails? Can the pump station continue pumping? So this was the basis of their evaluation. And then for, also they looked at, Matt mentioned some of the improvements that he has already done here in his team. Emergency power generators. SCADA is a big issue that allows operators to quickly react if something is wrong and go and fix. It reduces the reaction time. And sometimes we have a crisis, but nobody understands it from the outside, so this is great, and because of SCADA and of course operators. And then the storage, we checked for the storage, we do have an effective volume, so we are trying to see what is the minimum water that has to be in the tank in order to push the pressures that we need to send out to the systems. And so they evaluated this as well. And again, if the current storage that we have meets regulatory requirements, VDH wants us to have half a day of storage available at all times. So we looked at that. And then for the distribution and collection system, we modeled both systems now. And the geniuses, I call them, I don't understand modeling, they modeled, they calibrated the model, and then they played with pressures and flows and power flows to make sure to identify the weak points of the system so that we can go there and improve it. And then we did the same with pipes, the valves and hydrants. And for this underground, we're looking at the age of the pipes and the valves, and we're looking at the material as well. And of course, on the water side, the history of main breaks. So what is that? Of course, we're still building that background knowledge. We have a tool in American Water where we gather all this information as we learn more about the system, and then we use that tool to prioritize the main replacement projects that we will invest on. And then this is the fun part. After the technical stuff, the technical work is done, the planning team takes the information and let's say responds to three simple questions. What are our most critical assets? What could go wrong with these assets? And then the third one is what would be the impact if something went wrong? So they're taking the consequences of failure, the vulnerability of the asset, and then the likelihood of failure, and they're trying to create, they're putting their assigned risk based on their analysis. They assign a risk score, and they're building this table that you see on the right. Well, the assets with lower scores are down on the green area, green zone, and as you go up to the right, top right, the colors get darker. So zone 1 is a really high priority project, and it needs to be addressed as soon as possible. And then we go down to A2. And you will see later that we have two A1s, and then we have multiple A2s, but we will be fine. That's it. And here is the list of the projects that we have included that have been identified in the CPS. Yes, okay. A very important detail. The horizon, the planning horizon of a comprehensive planning study is 20 years. So this is the projects that were identified to be implemented in the next 20 years. Some of them are IP investment projects, so they require a higher level of investment, but some of them can be done at the RP level. The ones that I have highlighted in black, in bold, are currently ongoing. The superficial aquifer and deep well feasibility study. The Keckwells are not here because it's an old project. It was not included in the CPS because it's ongoing. Then the chemical room upgrades, it has a dual part. One part is because of the Keckwells, we need to add more treatment, so we are adding the chemical room, and then ops are upgrading the existing chemical room. And then the tower, well replacement. This is also, we just got the proposal to look into the options yesterday, the 20th. So these are all ongoing. And the Keckwells, we had some delays. We so much want to complete this project, but we have some delays with easements. We have the driller, the well driller on board. He's working on that part. We may be able to start, hopefully the easements will be done. We would like to start doing some pipe work away from the busy areas during the summer, and then continue when the season goes down, and then we will definitely finish it in 2027. We haven't budgeted any money for 28, so hopefully it will be done.
All right, but as you go through the summertime, you've got businesses along Stone Road there, and our concern has always been, now you're pulling up pipe, pulling up.
Then we won't do it. We will pause and wait, and there's no problem. We've been waiting for.
Well, we don't want you to wait. We want you to do it
We don't want to
beforehand.
mess up the summer season.
Well, to touch on
Yeah.
timeline too, I mean, I got an update this morning. We're looking at like July for electrical pumps, everything down at the site.
Okay.
So, I think we're probably gonna be like first of July, we're gonna get started on that.
Great.
At the cables.
That's what it sounded like this morning.
Okay. This is about cables. We're moving operations when they react very quickly. Engineering, we need our time. We're taking our sweet time. Mark knows to take everything. But when lawyers are involved, then it's the total disaster. I'm sorry, I hope they're lawyers here.
None of us are lawyers.
Just an engineer, yeah.
So the total amount we expect to, in the CPS, they give us a low cost and a high cost, so you can see the level of investment that we are planning to do until 2045. And you can go to the other one. Oh, this is the risk score, the risk map for the water projects. You see we have, I think it's only one, yeah, the wastewater has two. There is only one in zone A1. We have a bunch A2s.
Me too.
And a couple of yellow lines and a few in the orange zone. The good thing is that all A2s are included in the 5-year capital plan, which is under review now by the higher-ups in American Water, so hopefully it will. We didn't get any questions or any pushback, so hopefully it will be approved as it is.
We have a different map.
Yes, I
Okay.
apologize for this
Okay.
one. Yes,
Okay.
I will send Libya an updated one.
And that one slide earlier we didn't have.
Yes.
So we need that one too.
Mhm.
Okay.
When I was reviewing that map, I asked the question, the previous version, I asked the question to one of my planning engineers and said, could you please add I said, oh, Anna, this slide is not right. I said, oh my God. So this is the new one.
Okay.
Matt, could you please go to the other one?
And what project is in A1?
Let me see.
It's the chloride study.
chloride?
Yep, chloride
Okay.
study withdrawal increase request.
No, it's A2. Let me see. I will find it. I have it here. A1 is the water conservation and management plan. That can be done under
Water conservation and management plan,
implementation.
and then A2 would be, top would be chloride study and withdrawal increase request.
Would that address the TTHD numbers? Because that's trending up over the past couple of years too.
I'll have to get back to you on that, for sure.
Yeah,
We
because
can follow up with that.
you know, we got an 80 TPB number with EPA, and the last numbers that you guys had was 65 or so. And it went from 40, 47 to 65, so,
And we need to bring them back down.
yeah, all right.
If we can go back to the list of projects, I mean, again, we consider ourselves the experts, right? But that is the list of projects that came out, right? And if you look at that, you know, this is the stuff that I heard, right? This is the stuff we heard coming in, right? You look at water quality, right? You're looking at, you're looking at capacity, right? All that stuff, right? So, I mean, it all came out in the long run of everything that you have all said, you know, is on this 20-year list, right? Again, you know, there's a lot of time to work at, you know, it's a 18-month, year project, right?
Right.
Lots of phone calls. Again, she talks about these geniuses. I mean, they are these hydraulic people and these people that can do pressures and do all this analysis. You know, they are American Water folks, right, from our corporate headquarters. A lot of times, I mean, they make your head spin on what and they explain it to people like me that, kind of want to learn a little bit about it, but it's like my accounting skills, I passed, I got A in accounting, but I would never want to do it.
We just want to press the button, Charlie, right?
Yeah, no, but they're his, I mean, it's a
So-
really robust stuff.
Will the new information that you send us allow us to identify, like I see the list of CPS recommended projects, and then there's the graphic, and I know this isn't the correct one, but is there a way for us to know specifically what these
A2, A7.
A2,
I can add them
A7
next to the title.
Yeah.
So
That
they're
would-
all the things that are above,
that's
but they're not
perfect.
necessarily
Yeah.
identified as what you're saying, like,
Yeah.
okay.
I can add the A1 and 2. Some of them I won't add anything because they are the lower zones.
Yeah, sure.
It's okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious how it worked, so.
I have a question about the number of customers graph, the demand, future demand. And in looking at that graph, you show that the number of customers is expected to increase by 100 between 2015 and 2030. And that, I mean, we know that that's almost an annual amount. And so it gives me a little bit of concern when you look at that, are we projecting the right number, right amount of growth?
Okay, I can go back to them and ask the question and get back.
Yeah, and, that's certainly something our planning department can at least say, we've already
Yeah.
put out for the X number of homes. Because one of the questions we get from constituents is, you're looking at putting in 170 units over by the Keck Wells. You're talking about development of the railroad property. Are our utilities able to handle all that? And we need to say, oh yeah, American Water's got this handled. They already know about this.
Ken, I could touch on that because I sat down with
team.
the lead for all of this several times, and I'm thinking this is possibly one of the older graphs that got pulled, but he was aware that it was 100 to 120 homes a year. So I mean, we've spoken on that numerous times, and I'm just thinking it's probably the wrong graph now looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
plus,
maybe-
plus the wastewater what were we at when we saw it, about 30%, 40%?
Capacity?
Yeah, before even expanding it. Was it higher?
Higher.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
also with I&I, so,
Yeah.
so we've done it both, we ran studies both sides, without the I&I and with the I&I. Without the I&I, we've got some time, we've got plenty of time, and with I&I, we need to grasp it. So that was the focus this year, jumping into the I&I study and trying to get that ahead so we can, 27, dive into some of the repairs, so.
Cheapest way to expand capacity is from inside of
That's right.
We've always tried to tackle and we sold and said, no problem.
Thank you. You're taking care of us this thing, in the same way.
You want me to slide it your way?
Uh-huh. Great, and here is the list of the wastewater projects. We have the ongoing one, the fixed street tank replacement and the Mason Avenue improvements. The pump station that Matt mentioned, this will be phase 2 will be an IP definitely, so it will come to us.
Yeah.
And these are various, I can also update the risk on this slide and revise it and send it to you. Could you please go to the risk map? Here is, we have 2 of them, and these are the Fig Street and the Mason Avenue, I think.
It was actually one other up top,
Let me see.
A4, which was power study and electrical improvement.
Mason Avenue, yeah. And yes, the power study and electrical upgrades. Oh, this is easy to do. Okay. And most of them are A2, and we have, of course, some green ones, so we still have time to react to these ones.
In essence, with Mason Ave, we have that short-term solution, right? But we need then the bigger solution, right, is the long-term asset solution. We need to get that. I can remember Mason Ave. I think the ready to get rid of the pump. Then unfortunately, we had line issues on day one, right? And we thought we were, right, it was like, welcome to our first issue, right? And so we've been dealing, and we want to make sure we're doing it the right way, right? We're putting bypasses in so we can be able to work on the pumps. We're addressing safety issues, so, you're in a confined space. So, the way that engineering has partnered with us is that we grouped it, right? What can we do now to get the station back reliable and in service on the original equipment? And then what does it need to be sustained for a long period of time, right? And that's where it'd be the larger scale project. That could be building electrical upgrades, that kind of stuff. So it's a different approach, but we have to get it reliable now. It's been a process. It's been an animal, but we don't give up.
That is all I have.
I had one from a system point of view. Your water permit, groundwater permit. We had prepared for an increased request because we've run into problems in the July 4th weekend where we kind of maxed out on our demands. When you took it over and got a response from DEQ said, no, we're not going to increase and meet your request until you put the tech wells in. Then we'll wait 2 years while you do chloride studying on that flow. Then we'll talk about it. So my question really, if that's true, do I have a concern when we get to the next couple of years, given the population increase, to have a water problem during that week, which is typically the worst of the worst?
And SAIL 250 is probably going to be exceeding.
Could be even further, so.
According to the groundwater permit, we need to evaluate, look for an alternative water source. And this is, we need to do it by 2034, but we have already started the process. So you will see in the list there is an A2 that is ongoing now, the surficial aquifer and deep well. So we have a consultant on site. We would actually drill well, like a low, deep, not low, shallow, yes, thank you. Shallow well to see what is the water quality, and we're working close with BDH and DEQ on this. And then we will take also data from deeper wells around coastal areas, and we will try to compare what makes sense and what can give us better water quality, and then we will, I think we are ahead of this, because we just fantastic.
Well, the Keck wells are moving to the spine of the aquifer there, the aquifer recharges. So that's why we're always interested in getting those online, and your permit, it says you're gonna be drawing and blending, but taking 95% of that flow. So the Keck wells, for me, is an important add. I'm hoping it addresses things like TDH and what have you. And that's where I'm saying, right now, the permit says you put that in play and then come talk to us and we'll talk about an increase of flow coming from groundwater.
You're right, I mean, yeah.
Okay, well, that's why we're looking for a Keck well. When are we gonna get the wells in and done with, and then running our freshwater line back out to those properties?
That's the lawyers. And these, no, but we are working in parallel.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I think, guys, though, I think what Paul's concerned about is that have sufficient improvements been done
Right.
to the processing system of the plant, and do we have sufficient current raw water supply that the next July 4th weekend, the tap's not going to run dry? Because last time we had the plant, I think Scotty was working 24 hours a day to pump water.
Right.
And that was.
We'll run 24 hours, I mean, that does happen.
I realize that.
Yeah, and I mean, that does happen, but,
So, I mean, some of the the tools that we have in the tool belt, right, is we have the automated meters, right? Not all the leaks are on our we're proactively, we can run reports, right? I think, I don't know if customers have the capability to see their own daily usage, right? But we, you know, we have crisis intervention as an old operations guy. What are our key, you know, again, non-revenue water leaks? I mean, I can tell you the state of Virginia, we are at 6.4% non-revenue water. For people that know that, I mean, historically, we're company best, right, in Virginia. 6.4% is benchmark. I mean, the regulator's like less than 15%. So we are extremely, we fix leaks on a timing, we don't let leaks run here, right? Now, you're a gravity system, right? You're not a pump system, so your pressures are basically pretty stable, right? So that's good, right? That doesn't cause a lot of service line leaks and stuff. But those meters, when we're chasing leaks, similar to Waverly, I mean, Waverly's a groundwater system, doesn't have the treatment that we have here, but when we see daily delivery go up, just like I'm sure Scotty has in the past, one of the reports that we'll run is the meter program, right? And we'll look at the top 10 high users, and if somebody's usage jumped up from, 200 gallons a day to 15,000 gallons a day, we're calling that customer, or we're going out and knocking on the door and saying, hey, you got a toilet leak, we're shutting it off. We're being more proactive with
Oh,
that.
Scotty, just don't worry about mine today, I was filling up the pool.
I have a question about a possibility of a new tank. At what point will we need a new water tower and to deal with, I don't mean replacing what we have, I mean an additional.
So that was on.
Yeah, I think I have it in the 5-year plan.
Okay, 5 years, okay. Where,
And that'll buffer those daily demands too, right?
Absolutely.
Catch up. Yeah, that's been identified.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that, you speak on 24-hour run times in July. I think buffering some of that would significantly help too. Because there is a peak demand throughout the middle of the day, obviously.
I was, yeah.
Location for it?
No idea.
Yeah, sure.
Another lighthouse.
But if it happens to be a town property, we appreciate it.
I have a
That's
quick
those
question,
geniuses out there.
quick question on PFAS. Your reports say you don't record anything, which is great, okay? Is there any possibility, once you say it's good, is through expansion or what have you, is there anything that could lead to PFAS? Or once it's determined you don't have it,
No, we keep monitoring, and we keep taking, how frequently they report them? Yearly?
Yeah, yearly for us,
Yeah.
pretty confident.
And we usually, what I call it, these blues move really slowly, so if there is, do you have any industries around here or anything?
no, that's what I'm saying. So that's all I'm asking is the fact that you have 0 now, we wouldn't expect without industry or so to come in, it should be 0 forever. All right, that's all that was clear.
Very long time.
Go to Copenhagen Air Station.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, guys, great. We have one question.
Brian Murray, 204 Old Course Loop. I'd like to speak to something that was in the water treatment study 2022, which I believe the water company is working on as part of the capital improvement projects. But it states in that report that water reuse pipeline goes to the edge of the wastewater treatment property for use as the effluent in the golf course at Bay Creek development, which is previously identified as a recommended water reuse application. Water reuse at Bay Creek would require completion of distribution piping and the water treatment and other regulatory stuff. The current owners are willing to do that, so that's something before they change their mind that you might want to move ahead on.
Yeah, we have spoken with them, high level. So, with that said, I know Anna has a planning engineer on her team. Again, it's regulatory, a lot of stuff, but we have spoken with Bay Creek just on that subject matter. Yeah, we appreciate it.
you. All right. Thank you
Thank
very much.
you.
Thanks.
Great seeing you.
Thanks so much.
Yep.
If you don't mind, I might get on the road.
Yes, that is okay.
Yes, safe travels.
We'll see you guys.
See you.
Catch the seaplane.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
All right. What do we got here? Annual financial report, Taylor Stover, Robinson, Farmers, Cox Associates, PLLC.
Good evening. My name is Taylor Stover. I'm a partner with Robinson Farmer Cox. I work out of the Richmond office, and I am the partner for the FY25 audit for Cape Charles. I've been asked to do a brief presentation to go into the results of the audit, which I have prepared a little PowerPoint for you all. We're going to go over the engagement summary, what all you guys hired us to do, talk about the results of the engagement, give you a brief overview of the report and how the different exhibits work, talk to you about some accounting and reporting changes that occurred this year and upcoming next year, go over your fund balance and net position summaries, and then I have my contact information in case you guys have any questions that you want to, come up later after you guys have thoroughly reviewed that report or anything. You can send me later if you don't want to ask in a public forum or anything like that. So you hired us to perform the FY25 audit. That audit is subject to GAS, which is the Generally Accepted Auditing Standards. We also have GAGAS, which is the Generally Accepted Government Auditing Standards. And then we also utilize the Single Audit Act and Uniform Guidance. You guys do not require a Single Audit Act, but we still use those documents to determine if you need one. Single audits were required for if you expend over $750,000 in federal awards. That increases to $1 million next year. You guys did not expend over $750,000, so you did not need a single audit this year. As far as the results, I am pleased to announce that you guys received an unmodified opinion on your financial statements. And when I say financial statements, this whole document you have in front of you are your financial statements. Additionally, we also issued an opinion on your internal controls over financial reporting and compliance matters. That is also an unmodified opinion. Again, unmodified opinion is the highest opinion. It is a clean opinion. We did issue a management letter. A management letter is a letter that we issue when, during the course of an audit, we identify certain items that we want to discuss with management and governance, but that doesn't arise to the level of being a significant deficiency or a material weakness. Those are two defined terms that we use. I would like to say, so we did have the management letter. The one comment is just controls over journal entries. We just want to make sure that the journal entries are being reviewed by somebody other than the preparer, and that there is appropriate documentation supporting that, that journal entry. So when we come in and do the audit, we want to test some journal entries. We basically want to find the words that support the numbers. That's what we're looking for. So we just had that in the management letter that we recommended. To give you a brief overview of the report. So exhibits 1 and 2, and then your proprietary funds are all full accrual exhibits. So this is going to be similar to how public companies are reporting, where it's going to include all your capital assets, all your long-term liabilities, your pension liabilities, OPEB liabilities. Those can be assets, but they're typically liabilities. Also your leases, and if you have SPIDAs, those as well. Those are subscription-based information technology agreements. I'm pleased to announce that on Exhibit 2, which shows the change for the year, your net position increased over $1 million this year. You guys are now sitting at $27 million there. All the other exhibits are modified accrual. So these are what we call your fund exhibits. These exhibits are more useful for you all when you're kind of doing your budget preparation and just kind of looking at the results of the county. The difference between that and those government-wide exhibits on 1 and 2, so public companies, say you buy an asset. You are reducing cash and then you're increasing the asset. For the fund statements, you decrease cash, but you have an expense there. You don't have those expenses in full accrual statements. So that's why it's more beneficial. You're going to see your debt service payments in there. Funds that you spent for capital assets are still going to be included in the expenditures. So all those exhibits are going to be more useful for you all when you're reviewing the report. I'd like to discuss your tax collection percentage. You guys had 97% of the current levy collected, and when you include the delinquent collections, that was over 99%. So the Treasurer's Office is doing a great job making sure all those bills they send out are getting paid. Another change you might notice for the FY25 report is the Water and Sewer Proprietary Fund was officially closed out. You guys kept about $100,000 in that last year just in case there were some surprises, maybe some payables to pay out. That has finally been closed out, so now you'll have one less fund to deal with. Talking about some current and future accounting changes. So GASB 101 went into effect for FY25. GASB 101 deals with compensated absences, and it changed the way that amount was determined. Historically, how that was determined was we would look at the balance at June 30th and say, okay, if this employee retired, how much were they owed in vacation and sick leave? Sick leave is typically capped, I forget the amount for your locality, but usually it's like $2,500 to $5,000. The new pronouncement makes you look at it and say, well, hold up, this employee is going to work here for a number of years and they have this big balance of sick leave and they may use that above that $2,500 or $5,000 threshold. So we do some analysis to come up with that figure. You may have noticed there was a restatement for the beginning net position that is related to the implementation of GASB 101. Basically, we recognized an additional $60,000 in liability there with the recalculation. All audits that have GASB 101 had restatements. It's just a requirement for that, so it's no surprises there. Coming up next year is GASB 103. So GASB 103, the biggest impact there is going to be related to management discussion and analysis, as well as your explaining budget variances. So the MD&A, which is the management discussion and analysis, that typically in the current form kind of just recites a lot of information that's back further in the report. Just kind of summarizes some of that information. What GASB 103 is asking you to do is to kind of provide some more qualitative information as to why the balances may have changed, or why you may have had variances to budget, or just any other items that may have popped up. You know, for instance, if you were expecting a big $1 million grant that didn't come in this year, and you know you had budgeted for that, they might want you to explain that. So the difference with that is now for the budgetary comparison is you guys and town staff will need to determine what is significant. The pronouncement does not give any guidance as to what is significant. It does not give a dollar figure. It does not give a percentage. I am recommending to all my clients that there is kind of a dual figure you use, where you're going to have a percentage, where if there is a variance over that percentage, but also a floor. So if you're saying 25% is, you want to explain all variances over 25%. If you had a $10,000 item in your budget line and you're sitting there and you only spent 75, we do not want to be explaining that. So I also think you have a dollar floor that you recommend in there, just a minimum amount. You guys will need to develop that. I'm welcome to provide my input on that, but I cannot make those kind of decisions for you clearly. So you guys will have to work together to kind of determine what variances do you want to be explaining in your report.
So you're saying that's new?
That'll be for FY26, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, when effective FY26. All right, to go over your fund balances, just kind of show you what all's changed. We had about a little less than $600,000 increase in the general fund. You guys are sitting about $18.6 million there right now. I'd like to point out that 93% of, so that $20 million figure far right, that's your total fund balance on all your governmental funds. 93% of that $20 million is sitting unassigned in the general fund. Most of that is related to Virginia American Water and that sale, so that $15 million transfer you guys had over there. Special revenue, nominal change. We do have a negative fund balance there. That just means that fund kind of owes money to the general fund. It'd be something nice to clear up, but it's not alarming there. Additionally, the capital projects went up about $432,000. You guys now have a little shy of $1.6 million in fund balance for that account. As far as your proprietary funds, that is not fund balance. That is called net position, like a public company. So again, we had the $100,000 for water sewer. We wiped that out this year. Harbor had a $170,000 increase to their net position, now sitting a little shy of $5.3 million. And again, just a kind of a negligible decrease in the sanitation. So your proprietary funds now are resting with about $5.3 million in your net position there. And net position, just to clarify, is assets minus liabilities. So that's just what you have remaining there. That concludes my brief presentation on the report. I know you all have had this for a little while, maybe not the physical hard copies, but I know you've had a PDF copy there for a while. I just want to open this up to you all to see if you've had any questions that you've discovered during your review.
I have one question for Marion. When we go into a budget cycle, we start in February, March timeframe, and in the past, we've had issues with regards to what are our actuals for the prior year. We had a soft closure this year, all right. Do you know how close we were to the final audited items? Was the soft closure pretty much really the actual closure?
I'd like to tell you that I know that, but I don't. I believe that it was, but I have to do a comparative
Yeah, I would ask you to do that, because we go into budget season, and now we relied on the soft closure, which is even better than we had in the past. And if it's accurate, to whatever degree, but yeah, that's a good tool then for us to continue to use.
I'll definitely perform that analysis and report back.
Okay. Otherwise, we bring him in early and have him do this in September.
Is that a possibility?
Anything's possible. You got that big fund balance. Anything's possible. No, the reason being, you guys are a population under 3,500.
That's the problem.
So you guys, your audit is not due 12/15. So
Right.
traditionally, for small towns, February and March is our audit time for you all. We do have some clients, like one of my towns, just due to some rezoning going on, they are going to be going above 3,500. And so once the new census comes out in 2030, I'll have to move them into that fall time frame, and they're well aware that fall just costs more. That's all it is, just being honest. There's just a limited amount of audit teams out there that can do this, and only a select number of jobs we can get through in that time frame. Because you really can't start auditing until September 1, and everything's due 12/15. So it's just a very tight time frame there, but anything is possible.
I do want to let you know that based on your recommendation while you were here, that we have implemented the journal entry supervisory signature and review.
That's great.
It's a little bit difficult when you have separation of duties and a small staff, but we are doing that.
That is I understand that. A lot of my clients face that separation of duties, segregation of duties. It's tough.
Right?
All right,
you.
thank
All right, well,
very
thank you all
much.
so much. If you have any questions, you have my contact information. And I would like to thank all town staff for their help. Everyone is instrumental in getting this audit done. We can be very demanding in our request and the timeline, and maybe overwhelming at times because there's so many of us asking for documents at the same time. So I'd just like to thank everybody for all their help in getting us there. So other than that, thank you for having me tonight. Y'all enjoy your evening.
All right, you too.
Thank you. So engineering, audit, what's next, a root canal?
Yeah. With no Novocaine.
Let's get it.
All right. Now we're back to more public comments. Anybody?
Nobody has signed up for that and nothing in writing.
All right. To the consent agenda. Approval of agenda format, approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the agenda, approve meeting minutes, and thank you, Libby, for the 18-minute meeting minutes. And the financials for March.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that moves. Unfinished business, we are going to zoning text amendment 2026-2, application from Town of Cape Charles to amend Town Code, Chapter 32, Section 8, Historic District Overlay, Appendix A, definitions, and the Historic District Guidelines with the addition of the new Appendix G.
So you all have this. Is there any questions?
That's our presentation for this evening.
You've already seen it. This has been
Yes.
through all the
Many
It
times.
has been many, many meetings.
Many, many times.
Hearing none.
So I'll make a motion that we approve zoning text amendment 2026-02.
Second.
All right, so I move for adoption of ordinance 2026-0521, amending Historic District Overlay Ordinance, Town Code, Chapter 32, Zoning Ordinance, Article 8, Historic District Overlay, Appendix A, definitions, and addition of new Appendix G to the Historic District Guidelines, as noted, and forgo the reading of the ordinance. And this is a roll call vote, or no discussion? Already done. So Ashworth,
Yes.
Buckholz.
Yes.
Buda.
Yes.
Grossman.
Yes.
Holloway.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. That motion is moved. All right. Moving on to new business. New classification for current FY 2026, and proposed FY 2027 budgets.
That's me.
There you go.
Does
You're on.
everyone have this? And I'd like for you to take a printed one, because behind my staff memo is a 3-pager about the ideas competition. And if we could just separate it from your memo and give it to someone that you think might like to participate in the competition, it'll be a good way to spread the word. Thank you.
Oh, are we going to talk about the competition?
We weren't gonna say much, but I'd
Yeah,
like to
the-
promote
The
it.
concern of going through the slides here, there were 2 items here. The one slide found on our page 243 has no development with regards to the restrictive easement to 66 foot, and that has since been taken out. So that's a huge change to anybody that's trying to develop this particular area, so that needs to be updated. The other thing on this map, it talks about opportunities to remove or repurpose the hump. I'd like to remove the
that.
I would like to remove that as well.
remove the hump, that has to come out too. We can't, at this time, entertain that thought.
Yeah.
Unless you want to make it a viewing section, that's fabulous.
Well, they can repurpose
repurpose
it.
it.
So just take the words remove out, but
Correct.
that has to be updated and released to the contestants here, potential contestants.
Is that part of the 3 pages?
It's actually page,
That's-
oh, no, it's page 6 on the.
On the larger
PowerPoint
one.
That you have,
Okay,
yes, instead
gotcha.
of 200 page 6. Aaron, it looks like this. So this is the problem, and then this. Very good.
Ken, at the last meeting, the planning meeting, somebody told me that someone asked a question of the Berkeley group about the fact that,
They had not been told.
and that they had not been told. I thought that they had been told.
I thought they had been told.
And also the guy said, or the representative said that they wouldn't take it out because there are too many other easements associated with that easement.
There you go.
Yeah, he wouldn't say they wouldn't take it out, but he said there's other things, other easements there, other than the rail bank idea, that may have an impact on
Bob,
it.
can you share what's in there?
There is, and they overlaid, the important one, take rail bank.
You got to get up to the microphone, sorry.
It's his first time
So
here,
the
so-
important one is that the US of A has an easement for the dredging pipeline. And you're not going to get rid of that unless you don't want the harbor dredged. So, and I don't know how wide it is or anything like that. It's less than 66 feet. But there is going to be a strip there that's going to be encumbered, and you can't build on it.
So are they may not though be easements that are in use, like with actual buried utilities or things like that. I mean, I understand what that means, what you just said, but that would certainly suggest that there's an opportunity to relocate in a more direct, I mean, they used it before because it had already existed, but perhaps there's a more direct route that's in a straight line that they could utilize.
For utilities or the dredge pipeline?
For the pipeline, yeah.
That's a direct shot.
The last one they put it in. the last
Oh,
time
it's
we
there
dredged,
underground?
Yeah.
It's there now.
Oh, okay, I'm
That's what
sorry, I
I
thought
think-
it was something that
yeah.
they,
They just put that in the last time we
I gotcha.
dredged it, and it's
Yeah.
that big black pipe where the Christmas tree's hanging out.
yep,
Yeah, and
I
it's
get it.
a,
Oh, okay.
it's the most direct line to get there.
I gotcha.
So we then, the consensus is we need to leave that in this map.
Well, we
Yes.
need to reflect
Not the
something that
66
you
feet.
just talked about.
Right.
Right.
It's not 66 feet.
Right.
But it's something, we can, yeah, we have to at least.
But it's a
That's
much
what I'm
We should
smaller.
find out
People
what
that
it
are
is,
submitting
and,
designs here are taking, oh, that's,
Well, all that information's been given to the Berkeley Group.
but it needs to make sure it gets to Jim Clark.
are they running this? No.
No.
I'm not sure who, people running this contest need to be able to update this accordingly in order to have valid submittals.
get in touch with Jim Clark, who's running it, and let him know to update it, and then we'll put it.
Okay. and-
So can
and
we-
so-
But he'll need to know what the width of that
Yeah, I was
easement
saying,
is.
do we have any maps that show what the width of that easement is?
No,
Yeah.
Yeah,
we do?
I think that's where we'll start. Let's get the dimensions of that, and then we'll pass that on.
And where exactly it is? I mean, I know what the pipe is,
It's on the Berkeley Group. They have it.
but it was part of that big strip, so they never had to identify just where that pipe is, because it was already in that strip.
What I'm saying is they have both pieces of information.
Okay.
All right, as you were saying, Marion?
Thank you very much. Whoa, I felt like a deer in the headlights there for a second. We want to establish a line item to accept revenue, the donations that are coming in for the ideas competition, but we also are gonna have some expenditures as well, and we wanted to have that line item in place, and it's also it's already in the budget for fiscal year 27, and we'll see if that's approved. So I would ask for you all to consider taking action to allow us to make this line item.
So just need a motion I move that we accept the request for the new line items in the budget to accommodate the ideas competition.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Thank you. All right, moving on. Mobile food and beverage vending unit ordinance.
Last but not least.
All right, so at the last meeting, April 9th, you had some edits for me, so I incorporated all those edits, so we'll just go through those really quick. So first one was from Tammy. She wanted and/or beverage vending unit ordinance, so that's been incorporated all the way throughout the document. Then the second edit was in the concession trailer section. We had a concession trailer must remain, that has now been changed to may remain attached to the towing vehicle. And there's no other changes on page 1. There's no changes on page 2. No changes on page 3, but like we said, we're gonna go as linear feet for consistency when we're talking about distance from now on. And that was no changes on page 3. Next change was on page 4. We changed the time from, I think it was 6 to it's now 8:30 p.m. Sunday and Saturday. Then in the signs section, there was a change where we combined the old 1 and 2 to make just one new 1. And then number 2, it now says signage associated with the mobile food and/or beverage vending unit, including any permanently affixed signage on the unit, as well as any temporary sign shall comply with Town Code Chapter 32, Article 5. And then the other change on this page was with trash and refuge. We changed it so vendors have to bring their own trash can. They can't deposit any waste into any of the receptacles owned or maintained by the town. And all waste generated has to be removed daily from the site by the operator.
I have a question. I wasn't seeing 6, you said 6 somewhere, 6 a.m.? I don't see that.
No, we had 6 p.m., I meant.
Thank
It
you.
was the end time, yeah.
Okay.
So that was changed to
I got
8:30,
it.
yep.
Thank you.
Those were the 2 changes on page 4. Page 5, the change was in the service, so now it reads, all food and beverage preparation, display, and sale shall occur exclusively within the mobile food and/or beverage vending unit. We changed in F1 in sound, we changed crying out to calling out. And then we also changed around number 2, so generators used by mobile food, there's no and, but I'll add that, and/or beverage vending unit operators shall not exceed 65 decibels, which is basically a normal conversation. It's basically as loud as a vacuum almost. And then we added, which is consistent with the level of a normal conversation, and that was that.
I'm sorry, on item E1?
Yep.
I thought we talked about this, the all food and beverage preparation shall occur exclusively within the mobile food truck. That becomes difficult for somebody who's, say, supplying ice cream.
They're not preparing anything,
Right.
they're serving it.
Yes, and here it says all food and beverage
Preparation.
And sale.
But that means, that's like cutting up vegetables and stuff, that's how I see that. But ice cream is, they're serving it, they're scooping it out under a cone.
Correct. The way this reads, though, it sounds like they're preparing the ice cream, i.e. churning it or whatever you do, inside the truck, correct?
I read it that way.
Yes, that's how I read it. I don't know if there's a better word.
Instead of
better word.
preparation, it needs to be something else then. I'll definitely think on that,
Okay.
yeah.
Because to me, that's
Yeah.
gonna impact several of our local vendors.
Right.
Okay, so
You
I'll
could
look at
say
it.
assembly or something like that, but I think.
No, assembly would be the same thing, because if you're scooping ice cream into a cone, you're doing it outside. Say that the guy that has a cart, he doesn't have an enclosed facility to do that.
Oh, I
So,
got you what you're saying.
I see where Tara's coming from. But, I mean, I get this is like preparation. I see it because I worked in Kelly's for a while, so, you know, you were doing your prep work before the foods and all that got cooked, so.
But the way,
I get it, I
to
get
that
it.
point, right, are they
To
cutting
adopt
the
this,
fruit
we
that
need to
they're
figure out
putting
the
the
wording
ice
this
cream in
evening.
the truck, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We just need to
Yeah,
make
we
sure
need
that we're
to-
not inadvertently
Yeah, so
disadvantaging.
new word instead of preparation, I'll
Yeah.
definitely look into that. Calling out, crying out was changed to calling out.
We
and
need to
then-
figure that out this
No
evening.
hot dog call.
To adapt,
Or not vote.
or not vote. We need to figure that out this evening, okay.
Nah.
And I,
We always make mistakes when in the middle of something we start.
what's that? Okay.
Well, this is going to planning commission too. We're not
Yeah.
finalizing it.
We were.
Approving this. No, this is going to planning commission.
Okay, well, we were gonna finalize it this evening, though.
The resolution is sending it to the planning commission.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got
And I
two as well.
apologize for not bringing this up earlier. I don't know where it fits. But we have some, and Pam could speak to this from a 4th of July perspective. We have some food vendors that are just a table and chairs and coolers and all of those types of things. There is a Virginia and federal standard for propane tanks and how far they need to be from the service area. We don't address that anywhere, right?
No.
Okay, we need to,
Well,
because that's a real risk.
Doesn't the food service deal with
Isn't
that?
that a health
Yeah,
department?
it is,
thing,
but we need to have, I mean, if we're talking about
Well, that's
different
health
items like,
department rules.
I would
Still have it in
think,
our-
I would think we still want it in
our
our,
ordinance.
in our ordinance. I don't know where it fits, so I apologize for not having a solution, but
Yeah,
it
I'll
came to
definitely
me
look into
like late.
Well, I would clarify with food services to see if we need to put that in there, because if it's in theirs, why do the repeat?
Agreed, I mean, we can find that out.
Well, under service, it says no outdoor cooking facilities, including but not limited to grills, blah, 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 blah. I mean, we cover some of this stuff in here. They're
This is
just,
also part of the food.
Right.
or
yeah.
health
That
department.
goes to Tara's one, number one, too. It's almost like the same thing. It's like you're repeating yourself. By that one.
I
Yeah, I'll
have
find that out.
two
Yeah.
You know
items.
what I mean?
You'll be able to look that up, I think, pretty easily, Jack, and other policies.
One, I've seen where some of our businesses invite pop-up food vendors to put a table and a tent in front of their store and sell food. We don't address that at all, so that's just one thought. The second was under location 4A, and we talked about the 150 linear feet. We have some food service establishments that are only open limited hours during the day. Can we consider something that says this applies for when the normal restaurant is open? You know, if they're closed, what difference does it make? You know, if you're only open for breakfast or breakfast and lunch, it shouldn't matter in the evening. It's not a competition thing. So I just thought, that was just something else I thought about.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into that as well.
A lot of policing.
Yeah. All right, so we're down
So
to,
I would say the way that we would handle that is a conditional approval.
Yeah.
So I would write conditional approval with that comment, you know.
Their hours, they can only be there from
Exactly.
this time to that time.
Yeah, because we do that already.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the zoning, you know, when we do a review of it, we'll look to see what, you know, we'll draw a radius of 300 feet or a parameter of 300 feet to see where the radius falls of the 150 feet. And if it does fall within a business that is not open during that time, a restaurant business that's not serving dinner, but they're gonna be there dinner, we would say that conditional approve with those comments on it. So I think we're covered in it.
Well, the way it's written, it says you can't, if there's no vendor can sell food within 150 feet of a food service establishment.
It's been that way forever.
Right, but that doesn't make it the right way to do it.
Correct.
Exactly. That's why I said conditional approval.
Can we write that in?
Can we put in, like,
Uh,
something about conditional approval for,
I mean, we can, but
Yeah.
we do it already. I'm just saying, we do conditional approvals with limited, we specify what that is.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, and there was no change in lighting or utilities. There was a change in appearance and maintenance, and we just said a mobile food and/or beverage vending unit shall be kept in good repair, clean, and sanitary. Took out graffiti because it's a First Amendment thing. That was it.
All right.
All right, so the question I have in the resolution, we're proposing to put this in Article 3.
We're just gonna table it for this.
Okay, but why wouldn't we send it to the planning commission with these couple comments and let them?
We can send it to planning, but that's not, this is actually to put it in. This is a resolution.
No, this is the resolution of intent, sending it to planning commission.
This one
for
is,
them to review.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Then-
So my question is, Article 3 versus really Article 4 deals with all districts. That's more appropriate than Article 3. All right. So let me try a motion here. I'd like to propose to approve resolution of intent 2026-05-21 with changing the impact article to Article 4 and also addressing the language preparation under E.1, addressing propane tanks, and addressing 150-foot tied to business openings, perhaps being conditional approvals.
I'll second.
Hope you got that. Can't repeat that.
Video I can look at.
So any other discussion on that? Not hearing any, I am just gonna go by what
he said.
That's the,
And notice and forego the reading of the resolution. Again, this is a roll call vote. What?
Tammy.
Oh, sorry. Well, we'll wait for Tammy.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Ashworth,
Yes.
Buckles,
Yes.
Luda,
Yes.
Grossman.
Yes.
Holloway,
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Okay, so that is unanimous. It's moving. All right, moving on. Mr. Town Manager.
all right, let's see. Where's my list? Stack of stuff. So just giving you just updates on planning in general. So meeting with my great staff, Jack and Tracy, they're doing a fantastic job. They are so busy. It's really neat to kind of dive into the weeds with them and how capable they are. So they're great. They've been trained well. They are on it, working. So we meet all throughout the day. And
Thank you.
we have done such a great job of looking at files and what's going on and moving things forward. So just to give you an example, short-term rentals, like that's the hot button right now. We have, just Casey is doing fantastic as well, but we have 314 applications. So it just kind of keeps you where we're at. As of today, we have certified 100. And so it means we've approved that, we've released them. Within the last 2 days, we've released 32 that have been stuck. So we have really worked hard. In fact, Casey's working this weekend to work on some more, so by Monday I can release hopefully another 15 to 20. So we're doing great. We're also finding certain things where people or short-term rental owners were being hung up because of a company, their rental company didn't have a business license. So that was another thing that's holding back. So we got that secured. So we really have done well. The staff have all worked together and collaborated to get that done. And
We're gonna meet the June 30th, no problem.
that's what we're trying.
Okay.
That's really our goal.
How many of that?
It's very promising, though.
How many of that 314 are late applicants?
So that's a good question. Late applicants would be after the 15th deadline. We had 17 that were late in April and 11 in May. So not a lot, but there are still some of these we caught and then had to talk to them about it. So, but that's that. One thing that was really neat just to sit down with the planning department is just to kind of do a just big assessment of what's going on, where do we need help where are we stuck at? So we did make a big list of how we're gonna move forward. I've talked to Michael Zanier, and he's with the Berkeley Group to kind of get some quotes as far as like what kind of opportunities and models that they can offer to us. So one is they just have an on-call service, which we already have an agreement through a shared cooperative agreement with them. To kind of get we can, that's one option, we can just do that. Another one is they have a team of people that we work exclusively with, and that's a second model that we can work with. Third is they are going to be providing a quote for me just for recruiting. So we've reached out to a few other groups. The recruiting company that we use for me, Baker Tilly, no longer does this kind of recruitment. So that was unfortunate because we had a 2-year agreement with them.
You get a refund?
What's that?
We get a refund?
No, but the person who we worked with, Ann, I forgot, Ann Lewis.
Lewis, yeah.
She has a cooperative agreement as well, so she's giving us a bid, and we've got a couple others that we're working through. But the Berkeley Group will also give us a bid, and that's all they do is planning. So we're waiting on that one, and we've already got a job description. We've already got all of the brochures and stuff from Baker Tilly, so we're kind of ahead of the curve on that kind of stuff. So we're going to get that hopefully launched soon. I mean, I think our goal is to get something going by next week. It's already on Indeed, so the job post is already up, and so we're trying to put it on places to attract. The planning, the APA site is one we will use. ICMA is another one that planners go to look. So we'll hit all the big ones. If you're in planning and you're looking, we'll have something there. So I think that's really good and promising that we're gonna hopefully know something soon. I thought this was kind of neat, just for your knowledge. Laura Messner. She sent this to me, and I thought it was really neat. Just right now, Cape Charles is featured in Adorable Small Towns in Chesapeake Bay, and that's in the World Atlas. It's a .com thing, but it's mentioned as, you know, adorable place to go. Another was magical places in Virginia that feel straight out of a fairy tale, and that is fastfoodclub.com that we're featured. Didn't even know about that one. And then another 12 small town getaways on the Atlantic coast for retirees. That's also in the World Atlas.com site.
So to get that
So
building
we're getting you know, touches and stuff like that from other places. I went to a coastal resiliency meeting today with Accomack County and Northampton up at the Eastern Shore Community College, and met some really good contacts who is going to talk to us. And I think that would be our next step, is looking at our raft, getting them to come down and talk to us, and then meeting with our boards to see how we can pick some of that from our priority list. So I thought that was really good connections that we can do. Personnel updates and trainings. I know this is Paul's favorite, so I always make this for him. We have 4 dock hands now at the harbor for the summer season. 2 have returned. That's Cooper Caroglian. We may have heard that name before. And Aiden Bowen. He's coming back. And they've also hired Joey Nangle, who's a student at Merchant Marine Academy, and William Nottingham, who's experienced working with agricultural industry. Our beach attendants won't start until June, but they have 2 new hires and are waiting to see who's going to be returning for next year. We have a vacancy now in the planning and zoning administrator position, which you're very much aware of. Tracy and I have spoke and decided that, well, through HR, we sat down and talked about it, but she has been promoted into the assistant zoning and planning position. So she's an assistant working under me, but make sure that we can keep operations as smooth as possible. And I'm bumping her temporarily into a little stipend until she gets reviewed after we hire somebody, but she has graciously willing to step up. And so it's a lot more responsibilities that she's doing, but she's doing a fantastic job. And then here's a bunch of training stuff. So as part of the Leadership Training and Development Academy that we've been working on, a class has been assigned, the best practices of recruitment and interviewing and hiring. And since Libby, she's been very involved and she's so busy. But Libby knew that she would be unable to participate in the June date, so she took a class on behavior-based interviewing through Versa on the online training. So she's kind of ahead of the curve on this one. The library department staff, they've done just a variety of different trainings. Public library director crash course, finance and budgeting for library staff, American Sign Language for library staff, and accessible library spaces, the ADA, Beyond the Power and the Boundaries. You're not a social worker, but is the training. The police department, all officers except Officer Brown, who's at the academy right now, has taken the state-required LODA, Line of Duty Act training. Officers Yee and Potts have completed CPR recertification, and Chief has completed the active shooter training at Riverside. Our Treasurer's Department is discussing educational opportunities through the Treasurers Association of Virginia, it's called TAV, and Virginia Government Finance Officers Association, which we're so grateful because they recognize they have some needs for training, and so they're trying to determine what's best for that. In HR, our whole department of one, I love how she says that, our department, she completed HR Hot Topics Roundtable through Versa. It's a webinar through Poshra, and another one supporting employee mental health and well-being and disability accommodations in the public sector. She's participated in employment law update, and the focus was on General Assembly updates, which is the paid FMLA, collective bargaining, and sick leave accruals. Both Jody and Paula took a class with Don Reams called Executive Roundtable, the Hidden Cost of Leadership Variability. Jody won, she won an opportunity to get on a podcast through her accreditation, and so she was recognized, and it's kind of a big deal. So when you see her, you should thank her of her opportunities. And lastly, all town employees engaged in a special training course that was on May 6th with Kim Jesse of the Bridge Network that focused on self-assessments and conflict resolution. It was a very great conference, and our little training time, I think Paul came in and listened to some of it, and we also had a food truck just to celebrate public works, public staff, and sector services in general.
I came in looking for the food.
That's
I
right.
had to sit there.
Had to earn your way.
I had a conflict.
And then one last thing is, DEQ has sent us a violation notice that they've given us time to try to get our documents in order for the Chesapeake Bay Act and so forth. Our staff has been working on a lot of things. In fact, one of the things that the Planning Commission was actually working on was some dates that they were trying to finalize for the comprehensive plan. However, none of that stuff was ever turned in, and they're cracking down, and so I got a notification. I was told from other municipalities that everyone is getting this, so we're not the only ones. Evidently, it's a lot of work that it takes time to get these things done. It's a lot of policies they want you to enact for environmental, so forth. But anyways, I did reach out immediately with them, set up a date. So Jack, myself, and Tracy will sit down so they can walk us through to find out exactly what we need to submit. And then we did turn in all the things that we've been working on to them so that they can see that we have been doing stuff.
So there's no fine yet?
Not yet. I think it was more of a kind of a threatening, we're going to get you if you don't do something. But we immediately responded so that we're trying to show that we're in good standing some way.
Good.
That's all I have.
All right, fabulous. Council, anybody?
Just want to give a nod to Bob and everybody involved with the Mason Avenue work. I've had so many people come up to me and notice the sidewalk improvements and the lights that take you down to the beachfront and the ADA accessibility ramps that we've been listening to people complain about for years. And I feel like nothing happens fast here, and I felt like
That
we
happened
just
pretty
decided
fast.
to do it, and it happened pretty darn fast,
Yes,
so.
it is. I agree.
A pat on the back for anybody who needs one on that, but, and then I won't be here for the public hearing on the budget next Thursday,
The fourth.
the 4th, so if anybody else is not gonna be here,
Not, yes, we get next Thursday off, finally.
I'm sorry. Well, I won't be here June 4th, because I
Yeah.
have to be at my planning commissioner certification, so if anybody else can't be here, we need, or just
Call.
talk to Rick or whatever.
Call. After hours.
I have night classes. I could call in, I suppose.
We're at Chili's.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe back ribs.
If you haven't seen any of those stuff going on Mason Ave, you should walk down and see it.
Yeah, it looks great.
It really is fantastic, and it looks like it's been there for a while. So
That's
we've
great.
widened the sidewalk, the ADA ramps, it's impressive.
Plug pedestals look nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fabulous job.
I just have one announcement.
Oh, go right ahead.
I want to congratulate Pam on receiving her very first grant that she wrote, 2 grants. Yes, that is to be celebrated. That is a big accomplishment for the Fall Festival and for the fireworks. And it will help our budget and bottom line significantly. So thank you so much for doing that. And Cape Charles got many other grants. I don't have the specifics of each one. It was a tough year because the amount that we went into working with was only 100 grand. And in past years, we've had 200 plus. And the reason that we've had 200 plus is that there's been surplus from years before. So we've just kind of used a little bit as we've gone as an infrastructure committee. But then tot dollars are down for the county. So there's a formula and an ordinance of how much we get. It's very precise, and that's what we had this year. So there were some tough decisions, but Cape Charles still fared very, very well. So some of those people, I didn't want to announce the others because I don't know if they've gotten their letters yet, but I know Pam did because we talked. So congratulations. Mhm.
Thank you.
I've got a question on the bike trail. When the folks were here previously, they said probably should be open by Memorial Day weekend. Clearly, that's not going to happen. Do we have any updates on that?
I've
Yeah.
now heard June.
Mid-June.
I called Ron right before this, and he said mid-June.
Yeah, mid-June.
That's the best that they can do.
Yeah.
That's fine, but it's just people need to know. that-
And then just since you brought that up, Rick, I sent you that email about the sign, about getting up a reel. I sent it to Andy, or Adam and you, I think.
And not just for that trail.
Yes.
That's for the street.
That's for the
as well.
street, like
Yeah.
we need to
a
get the
permanent sign.
permanent sign up that says no golf carts beyond this point.
Turn around.
So we need to get that done ASAP.
Do we know a sign guy?
I don't know. We want to obviously meet the sign ordinance and all of those things, but
Suggestion.
yes.
Well, for
We
this
do
one,
need
it's
to-
actually just
yes.
outside of Cape Charles, so we don't have to follow the sign. So there you go.
Well, it depends on what side of the road it's on.
Yeah.
Right, easy.
Yeah. So I think that should become
Want to get you a bigger
I think it should become a big priority.
I agree.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Because now it's buried.
It's,
That one little sign
yeah.
that's there is now buried behind the bush. You really
Well,
can't.
the other piece we have to remember, though, is we do have some vehicles that are owned by folks that are the low-speed vehicles that can be out there.
No, they can't.
Not on 55.
Not on
Not
that
on the
road.
55, correct.
No.
Right.
They can go
But
35.
They can go on the 35.
Yes,
Old
Okay.
Cape Charles is the only road they can be on.
Right.
That's,
Low speed, they can go to 35.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They have to
Okay.
have a license plate that says low speed.
On which road? can
Old
they go?
Cape Charles, back street.
Yeah.
They can't go on Casad?
They can go on Casad.
Yeah, Casad.
Yes.
They can go on Casad?
Yes. They can make it to,
They can go
What's
to
it
the
called?
storage facility, and then they can go around and go into Kings Creek.
Kings
or
Creek and-
all
yes,
that.
yes,
Those
they
are
can.
all, that's all 35.
What is this vehicle? I don't even know what
it's
that
a
is.
low speed,
It's
so
a
they
golf
actually can
cart,
go 35
but
miles an hour.
they-
Like a moke.
Oh,
But, yeah,
And they have tags on them.
they have to have tags.
Yeah, but they're,
So Andy,
it's a
I
car.
will talk to you about this.
Yeah. Some of the things that have been posted on Facebook where people are saying, look at these, people who shouldn't be out there. I know at least one of those pictures is a low-speed vehicle.
Right. But the other ones are not.
Yeah. It
The ones at the liquor
should
store were
be
not
Sheridan.
low speed.
Right, yeah.
No, they were not.
Should not be.
No,
No.
yeah.
No,
The one that has CC Reynolds out at the liquor store should not be out.
that's correct. There's a lot of things.
Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome.
All right, so not hearing anything else, I will make a couple announcements. June 4th, Town Council public hearing on fiscal year 2027 proposed budget. June 18th, Town Council regular meeting. Very exciting for June 19th and 21st, like we've mentioned many, many times. If you see a Salfest post, please like it, share it, get it out there. It's going to be a fabulous, fabulous weekend. June 19th also, 2026, the summer concert is actually going to be moved to Friday as opposed to Saturday. And that is going to be the beginning of the Central Park concerts in the park. Those are all the announcements I have. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That, we couldn't do it this one. We have to do it the next one. We didn't have enough time to announce.
Friendly reminder.
So that'll be in the next meeting, correct? Our next regular meeting to switch from Thursdays to Wednesdays. Yes.